Have you ever felt that something invisible is controlling your reality, as if your choices, thoughts, and emotions aren't entirely your own? What if I told you that forces are working behind the scenes to shape your perception without you even realizing it? Jacobo Grinberg, one of the greatest scholars of consciousness, discovered something unsettling. The reality you see isn't fixed, but programmed. There are layers of influence working silently, from social patterns to energetic forces that determine your life experience. Today, we're going to reveal who is really in control of your mind and how you can break free from this hidden system. But before we continue, leave a comment saying, "My mind is free and awakened." This simple affirmation reinforces your intention to break the invisible programming and take charge of your own reality. Now get ready. What you're about to discover could change everything you believe to be true. Most people go through life without realizing that their mind is conditioned by external influences that limit their perception of reality. From childhood, we are bombarded with beliefs, rules, and values that shape the way we see the world. The problem is that this programming isn't necessarily designed for our growth. It's meant to keep society running in a predictable way. Jacobo Grinberg discovered that reality isn't objective, but a construction of the mind based on our interaction with the neuronal field. In other words, what we perceive as real is merely a reflection of the mental framework we carry. Now, consider this. If your beliefs were implanted by external systems, how can you be sure that your choices are truly your own? The programming of the mind works on two main levels, the external and the internal. The external comes from direct influences, family, school, religion, media, and culture. From an early age, we hear phrases like, "Money is hard to earn," "You need to follow the rules to be accepted," and "Life is a struggle." Over the years, these repeated ideas form automatic thought patterns that make us act without questioning. The internal layer, on the other hand, runs even deeper. It connects to your subconscious, your karmic blueprint, and even the cellular memory inherited from previous generations. Some people are born with predispositions towards certain behaviors and challenges. That's why, when faced with the same experience, one person might grow stronger while another is broken. The difference lies in how each individual internalizes and processes events. But there's an even more dangerous third level of manipulation, the so-called pendulums, or collective influence fields. When large groups of people share the same emotional vibration, whether through ideologies, fanaticism, or collective fears, they create an invisible force that keeps everyone tuned to the same frequency. Religions, political systems, media, and even pop culture use this mechanism to trap people in predictable emotional states like fear, anger, and submission. Here's the real problem. If you aren't aware of this control, your mind will simply mirror these invisible forces. You'll follow automatic patterns, believing you're making your own decisions when you're really just repeating the programming that's been installed in you. To understand how to escape this invisible programming, we must turn to one of the greatest scholars of consciousness, Jacobo Grinberg. His revolutionary research on the nature of reality and the neuronal field revealed that the human mind doesn't just interpret the world around it, it actively creates our experience of reality. Grinberg dedicated his life to studying the interactions between the brain and what he called the synergetic field, an invisible network of information connecting all consciousnesses. His theory challenges the materialistic view of the world, suggesting that what we perceive as reality is nothing more than a construction of our own mind, influenced by both internal patterns and external forces. Even more intriguing is that Grinberg didn't just explore these ideas theoretically. He traveled throughout Mexico and Latin America, studying shamans and their methods of altering reality perception. He discovered that by expanding their consciousness, shamans could access hidden layers of reality and break free from the limitations imposed by collective mental programming. But this journey into the unknown came at a price. Shortly before he could publish discoveries that might have forever changed our view of reality, Jacobo Grinberg mysteriously disappeared without a trace. Now that we understand who Grinberg was and the importance of his studies, let's delve deeper into what he discovered and how we can break the mental programming that keeps us imprisoned. External and internal programming. The human mind isn't born as a blank slate. From the moment we are born, we are immersed in a sea of influences that shape the way we see the world. These influences operate on two distinct levels: external programming and internal programming. External programming comes from the environment around us: culture, education, media, and personal experiences. From an early age, we are taught what is right and wrong, what's possible and impossible, and which behaviors are acceptable. These rules aren't just social, they become deeply rooted beliefs in our subconscious. For example, if a child grows up hearing that money is hard to come by, that idea can become a permanent filter influencing their financial reality as an adult. However, there is something even deeper: internal programming, which isn't imposed by the environment but is inherent from birth. This programming is linked to the concept of a karmic blueprint, understood as the tendencies and challenges each individual carries from birth. While external programming can be changed through learning and new experiences, internal programming requires a deeper transformation, as it is tied to emotional and spiritual patterns that accompany a person through multiple lifetimes. Consider this. Two people might experience the same traumatic event, yet react in completely different ways. One may develop resilience and overcome the challenge, while the other becomes trapped in fear and self-pity. The difference lies in internal programming, the way each person absorbs and processes life's events. Grinberg studied this phenomenon in depth and concluded that the reality we perceive is a reflection of our mental structure. If someone internalizes beliefs of limitation and scarcity, their life will be defined by those conditions. Conversely, those who learn to reprogram their mind can break free from the traps of collective perception and create their own reality. The big question is, are you aware of your mental programming, or are you simply reacting to patterns implanted in you? If you want to break these automatic cycles and take control of your perception, the first step is to recognize the forces that influence your mind. But there's something even larger at play. Beyond individual programming, there exists a collective control system that traps the masses in predictable mental states. This system manifests through pendulums, those invisible forces that dominate the collective mind. Pendulums and the control of the collective mind. If you've ever felt that certain ideas, emotions, or behaviors spread like a virus, then you've experienced the power of pendulums. This concept, widely explored by Vadim Zeland and closely aligned with Grinberg's work, describes invisible collective forces that drain people's energy and cause them to act in predictable, automatic ways. Pendulums are created when a large number of people vibrate at the same emotional frequency, whether it's fear, hatred, fanaticism, or even adoration. Religions, political ideologies, sports clubs, social movements, and even entertainment culture generate fields of collective influence that hijack individual identity and turn people into mere followers of a dominant idea. The danger is that by unconsciously connecting with a pendulum, you lose the ability to question and think for yourself. Your actions stop being guided by your true essence, and instead are manipulated by this collective force. Think about how crowds react impulsively to news, crises, or polarizing events. An idea spreads, grows, and suddenly everyone is defending a cause without even questioning its origin or consequence. Emotional manipulation as a tool for control. Pendulums don't operate on logic. They thrive on intense emotions and polarization. They require constant nourishment, your attention and emotional energy. That's why the media and large corporations invest so much in narratives based on fear, anger, and pride. Fear paralyzes, making people submissive and dependent on external authorities for safety. Anger blinds, causing individuals to engage in conflicts without realizing they're just pawns in a larger game. Pride divides, creating factions and groups that fight among themselves, while a higher system benefits from the division. Notice how social media amplifies this dynamic. Endless debates about politics, culture, and identity create a vicious cycle where people become emotionally entangled and lose the ability to see beyond what has been programmed into them. How to break free from the pendulums. The only way to escape this invisible web is to regain control over your own mind and emotional energy. This means observe your reactions. Whenever an intense emotion is triggered by a news story, speech, or collective movement, ask yourself, do I really believe this, or am I simply being swept along by the tide? Avoid polarization. The more an idea divides and separates people, the more likely it is a pendulum at work. Choose not to be a pawn. Reduce your consumption of manipulative information. Both traditional and digital media thrive on your attention and emotional engagement. Be selective about the sources you trust. Develop independent thinking. Reflect on your own beliefs and ask yourself whether they truly come from within you or were implanted by external influences. Grinberg argued that true mental freedom only occurs when an individual escapes collective control systems and learns to operate their consciousness independently. The problem is that many people confuse security with control. Fear is one of the most effective tools for keeping people under control. It paralyzes, limits, and drives individuals to seek protection in systems that in reality only further imprison them. Society is structured to feed this fear and use it as a mechanism of domination, ensuring that most people remain obedient and incapable of questioning what's really happening around them. From childhood, we are taught to fear the unknown. The fear of failure stops us from trying something new. The fear of rejection forces us to conform to society's expectations. The fear of poverty traps us in jobs we despise. The fear of insecurity makes us accept rules, laws, and authorities without ever questioning their true intent. This need for security is a carefully constructed illusion. We're told we need a stable job, a recognized degree, a retirement plan, a strong government, but who exactly are we securing? On closer inspection, these structures aren't designed to guarantee our freedom, but to maintain a system that needs predictable, obedient, and easily manipulated people. Fear is a tool for control. The truth is, the more fear a person feels, the less they trust themselves. This makes them more likely to accept anything presented as a safe solution. That's why the media and governments constantly use alarmist narratives, reinforcing the idea that the world is dangerous and that we need constant protection. Consider how this plays out. Crises and emergencies are amplified to justify new rules, laws, and restrictions that further limit individual freedom. The threat of invisible enemies, be they viruses, terrorists, economic crises, or climate change, keeps the population in a state of perpetual alert and anxiety. Division and conflict among groups ensure that people remain distracted, fighting amongst themselves instead of questioning the true power structures. When we live under the reign of fear, we accept anything that makes us feel secure, even if it means giving up our freedom and autonomy. But here's the big question. What if true security isn't found in something external, but within ourselves? How to break free from the illusion of security? The only way out of this trap is to confront fear head-on and learn to trust your own consciousness. This means question everything marketed as necessary for your security. Do you really need all these rules, or have you simply been conditioned to believe in them? Break free from a scarcity mindset. The idea that you can't live without a steady job, a degree, or a system dictating your choices is merely a limiting belief. Develop internal resilience. When you realize that your security doesn't come from external factors, but from your own ability to adapt, fear loses its hold over you. Step out of your comfort zone. True freedom exists only for those who embrace uncertainty and learn to navigate the unknown without succumbing to panic. David R. Hawkins demonstrated in his studies on states of consciousness that fear and anger keep people trapped at low levels of perception. Only when someone raises their vibration to levels of courage, acceptance, and understanding can they free themselves from these bonds and see the world clearly. Awakening and elevation of consciousness. If fear and emotional manipulation are tools designed to keep us trapped in a state of unconsciousness, then the true path to freedom is through elevating our consciousness. Jacobo, Grinberg, and other researchers of the human mind, like David R. Hawkins, have shown that consciousness operates on various levels, and the higher your vibrational frequency, the less you're influenced by external forces. Hawkins even created a map of consciousness, classifying emotions by their vibrational frequencies. He showed that emotions like fear, guilt, and shame vibrate at very low frequencies, making people vulnerable to manipulation and external control. In contrast, higher states such as courage, love, and enlightenment allow individuals to reclaim their personal power and become immune to forces that try to shape their perception. Consider this: the higher you elevate your consciousness, the less you react automatically, and the more you begin to notice hidden patterns in reality. That's why people trapped in fear and anger easily fall into polarized narratives, while those operating at higher frequencies can see through the manipulation and consciously choose their reactions. Consciousness as a shield against manipulation. When your mind vibrates at a higher state, pendulums and control systems lose their power over you. They rely on your negative emotions to survive. When you refuse to react with fear or anger and instead choose to operate from a place of neutrality, courage, and clarity, you stop feeding these systems and they lose their hold on you. Here's how it shows in practice. A person in a state of fear accepts anything imposed as a safe solution. A person in a state of anger becomes easily manipulated, always seeking someone to blame rather than looking for solutions. A person in a state of courage and understanding observes reality without falling into emotional traps and makes decisions based on their own perception. True mental liberation happens when you stop merely reacting and start creating. This means not only freeing yourself from limiting beliefs and imposed thought patterns, but also taking control of how you perceive and interact with the world. How to elevate your consciousness. The first step toward awakening is understanding that reality isn't fixed. It's a construction of the mind. The way you view the world is determined by your vibrational state. To elevate your consciousness and free yourself from manipulation, try the following. Reduce your exposure to fear. Question the narratives that try to trap you in anxiety and panic. Develop self-observation. Pay attention to your thoughts and emotions and identify the automatic patterns that keep you in lower states. Cultivate elevated emotions. Gratitude, compassion, and joy are states that raise your vibrational frequency and make you more resistant to external manipulation. Seek expanded knowledge. Delve into studies on consciousness, spirituality, and reality perception to reprogram your mind. Practice mindfulness. Meditation and other presence techniques help you break free from autopilot and regain control over your thoughts and feelings. Once you begin operating from a higher level of consciousness, the old forms of control lose their effectiveness. You become an observer of reality rather than a victim of circumstance. But there's an even deeper level of awakening. What if reality is nothing more than a programmed dream? What if, just as in a lucid dream, you could learn to control it? Lucid dreaming and the control of reality. Imagine you're dreaming and suddenly you realize you're in a dream. That moment of lucidity changes everything. You can fly, pass through walls, or create any scenario you desire. Now think about this. What if the life you're living right now is a programmed dream? What if reality could be shaped just like a lucid dream? Jacobo Grinberg studied the relationship between the mind and reality extensively and concluded that human perception is a mental construction, not a fixed representation of the external world. This means that what we call reality isn't absolute, but a projection of our state of consciousness. Just like in a lucid dream, where attention and focus determine what happens, an awakened life can be consciously shaped through perception. Reality as a projection of the mind. Most people live like sleepwalkers, reacting automatically to external stimuli without realizing that it's their attention that molds their experience. Just as in a non-lucid dream, they drift along with events without questioning their origin or the possibility of change. This state of unconsciousness keeps humanity trapped in repetitive cycles. However, those who awaken to the malleable nature of reality begin to reprogram their minds in the same way a lucid dreamer manipulates a dream. They understand that reality responds to attention and conscious intention. What you focus on expands. If your attention is constantly on scarcity, fear, or limitation, your reality will reflect those conditions. Your beliefs determine the rules of the game. Just as in a dream where you can fly if you believe you can, in waking life, your beliefs set the boundaries of your experience. The external environment is a reflection of your internal state. Changes in your inner perception alter the way reality manifests around you. How to take control of your reality. The good news is that anyone can develop this ability. Just as you can train to have lucid dreams, you can learn to consciously shape reality. To do this, try the following. Develop awareness of the present moment. Just as the first step in a lucid dream is realizing you're dreaming, in real life, it's crucial to step off autopilot and be fully present now. Techniques like meditation and mindfulness can help. Question reality. In a lucid dream, one way to wake up is by asking, "Am I dreaming?" Do the same in real life. Is this belief truly mine? Or are these limitations real? Or were they imposed by society? Change your limiting beliefs. Just as a lucid dreamer can decide to fly, you can decide that you're capable of prospering, changing your life, or transcending your blocks. This takes mental reprogramming and constant practice. Use creative visualization. Great spiritual masters and scientists like Grinberg understood that the mind shapes matter. Visualize your ideal reality with clarity and emotion, as if it were already real. Control your attention and energy. In a lucid dream, everything the dreamer focuses on gains strength. In real life, your attention is your greatest power. Don't waste energy on distractions or narratives that keep you stuck in unconsciousness. The final level of awakening. The final key is understanding that external reality can only change when your internal perception is transformed. Awakening isn't a one-time event. It's a continuous process of questioning, expansion, and alignment with higher levels of perception. Now that you understand the mechanisms controlling reality and how to escape them, only one question remains. What will you do with this knowledge? Will you continue living on autopilot, controlled by invisible forces? Or will you take the reins of your perception and become the creator of your own reality? The choice is in your hands. Now that you've grasped the invisible forces shaping your reality, there's just one more question. Will you keep living on autopilot, or will you awaken to the true power of your consciousness? If you truly wish to take control of your mind and your reality, here are 3 essential steps you can start applying today. Practice self-observation. Throughout your day, pay attention to your thoughts and emotions. Constantly ask yourself, is this idea really mine, or was it implanted in me? The more you observe your mind, the less you'll be influenced by automatic patterns. Question reality. Run small experiments. Change your routine, react differently to everyday situations, and see how reality responds. This breaks the cycle of unconscious programming and gives you more control over your perception. Exercise focus and intention. Choose something you want to change in your life and direct your attention to it consciously. Instead of reacting to the external world, start shaping it with clear intention and alignment with what you desire to create. If this message resonates with you, leave a comment below saying, "I choose to awaken." Share this knowledge with someone who needs to understand these truths and continue exploring the power of your mind. Remember, awakening doesn't happen in a single moment. It occurs with every conscious choice you make. Now, the decision is in your hands.